What's good, everybody? It's the Clown of a Cab Show. Shout out to my dog, Drew Brees. What a career. Just announced he's going to retire from the NFL after 20 seasons. Look, class act from all the way around, and I get it. The only flaw that I have with Drew Brees is what he said about the national anthem, and I understand it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and really just, it didn't make sense at the time, but, Drew Brees apologized about that. But other than that, Drew Brees throughout his career has been class act, dude. Top of the notch, A+. We're talking about a quarterback with the most passing yards ever. Most passing yards ever by a single quarterback alone in NFL history with 80,358 passing yards. 80,358 yards. That is insane to me. That's like the impossible, right? In second place, right behind him, what do we know? The GOAT, Tom Brady. He's got 79,204 yards. I think Tom Brady will eventually pass that, sadly, because I love Drew Brees. In hope to my brother, what he's done all the way around. Again, in Drew Brees, most career completions in NFL history. Most career completions, dude. 7,142 career completions. In second, yet again, is the GOAT, Tom Brady. 6,778 completions. That might get passed up, because we understand Tom Brady just signed an extra year into 2022 season. To me, that's crazy. I'm looking at it, but, Drew Brees, we have to understand his whole career. Started at Purdue, at college, was really good, and then he got drafted in the second round. This guy wasn't even a first-round pick, and it's great because we see a lot of these Hall of Fame quarterbacks, they come out, and the thing is like some of them, they're not really drafted in the first or even the second round. And a lot of analysts are saying, hey, these guys aren't going to make it. And a lot of people are saying Drew Brees, he's too short. He's not athletic enough. He's not gonna do it. And look at Drew Brees' career. Hall of Fame, in my opinion. He is 100% a Hall of Famer, and I understand he only has one Super Bowl. And I understand Trent Dilfer, he has one Super Bowl as well. Who's Trent Dilfer? Exactly, but we're talking about Drew Brees here. Two-time NFL Offensive Player of the Year, 2008, 2011. Dude, I love this. Obviously won Super Bowl MVP, won the Super Bowl in 2010, beating my Indianapolis Colts. And honestly, I believe at the time the Colts were actually favorites going into this game. It was Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints that were underdogs. And what happened? They came up and showed up. And Drew Brees, that game in the Super Bowl against the Colts, had 32 completions, tied a Super Bowl record. He had 228 passing yards and 2 touchdowns in that Super Bowl. So very well-deserved MVP. Had Reggie Bush there with him. Jeremy Shockey was on the squad. Look, dude, all around, me being an Indianapolis Colts fan, we have to understand the Colts had a better team that year. No doubt about it. If the Colts would have played the Saints 10 times, I believe the Colts would have beat them 9 out of the 10. It's just that night. And to me, I believe they got out-coached as well. But, Drew Brees, I honestly would have thought he would have won more than just one Super Bowl. I really did. There were times in 2018 when they matched up against Minnesota in the playoffs where, the Saints blew a coverage, their safety, and Minnesota ends up winning it and loses the next game. I think, if Drew Brees had a little better luck, towards the end of his career in the playoffs, absolutely Drew Brees could have had a second title or second Super Bowl ring. No doubt about it. Seriously, Drew Brees, dude, I love it, dude. Five seasons with the Chargers, and when he was in San Diego during his rookie season and going in, we have to understand he ended up getting hurt, dude. Drew Brees got hurt, diving for the football. And Drew Brees, he's one of those guys that he's going to try 100%. Every given opportunity, every play, Drew Brees is trying no matter what, dude. And that's why Drew Brees is one of my top 10 greatest quarterbacks of all time. Drew Brees is in that discussion, no doubt about it. We cannot say Drew Brees isn't, dude. That would be ignorant. Drew Brees is a top 10. In my opinion, he might be a top 5 quarterback going through the list. But, dude, Drew Brees, and like I said, he ended up hurting, I believe, his shoulder, his throwing arm, which is the worst injury you can do. And I think if Drew Brees did not get hurt in San Diego, I believe right now he could have played a couple extra years like Tom Brady's doing. He could easily done that, but, injuries, ended up catching up to him, which was really bad. At the time, but to me, amazing. He's the fastest player to reach 50,000 passing yards in only 183 games. I mean, dude, that's crazy to me. He has the highest single season completion percentage with 64.4%, dude. I mean, what more can we get, dude? The list just keeps going on and on, dude. He's a 13 times Pro Bowler, dude. I mean, Drew Brees, he's a dog. He's a dog. He has the heart and commitment to win, dude. And we even see that his ex-teammate Reggie Bush said he puts in the time. He gets there in the morning and he leaves the last player to leave, dude. I'm telling you what, Drew Brees, he was the definition of, hey, this is what we're gonna do. I'm a leader here, not a follower. That's what Drew Brees was. He was the definition of a class act leader. And like I said, I understand he made a couple mistakes here and there, but look, dude, everybody makes mistakes, okay? So let's look at all the good things that Drew Brees has done, not just in NFL. Look at the city of New Orleans that Drew Brees is doing. Drew Brees he's doing a lot, dude, and we have to give him homage to that. 571 career touchdown passes, and 243 interceptions. I get that. That's a little high, 100% for me. Most consecutive games with at least one touchdown pass, in the NFL. And that's 54 games, and Drew Brees holds that. Most career touchdown pass, at least for one touchdown pass in a game, 54 straight games, dude. Most in the NFL history. That's crazy. That is insane to me. And then we got Peyton Manning and then Tom Brady, down the list. But I think that record's going to hold for another decade. I really do. 54 straight games with at least a touchdown. At least one touchdown. I mean, dude, Drew Brees, man, I salute him. And a lot of people who played with Drew Brees, they should give him homage and respect and say, you know what? Drew Brees did this, man. He did this to the highest level. He committed it, dude. He sacrificed a lot, dude. He really did, and his pregame speeches were one of the best I've ever seen a quarterback do. He would hype his players up, and they would want to go hit somebody and play the game hard. And that's what people wanted to do when they play for Drew Brees. They wanted to play hard. They wanted to give it all out. And I think, really what underrated Drew Brees was really his arm strength. Even getting hurt in San Diego, I really thought, obviously towards the end of his career this past year, I kind of watched Drew Brees and realized, look, dude, Drew Brees doesn't have the arm that he used to have. He can't throw the ball 70, 80 yards anymore. He can't throw that 50-yard deep ball like he used to. And I saw that a couple games this last year in 2020, and I was like, dude, I don't know if Drew Brees is going to make it, next year. And it really showed that, hey, Drew Brees realized, look, my body's not there anymore. My mind could be there in the game, but my body, my arm, it's shot now. It's like, a car, it's out of gas now. Drew Brees is he's out of gas now, and he gave the city of New Orleans everything he had. Spent 15 years there, over a decade. I mean, amazing, right? Just take a look at San Diego, who drafted him. Imagine if San Diego Chargers would have kept Drew Brees, man. They kind of gave up on Drew Brees in a way. They had LaDainian Tomlinson, a Hall of Famer. They had him and Drew Brees. I thought, man, that was such an iconic duo. Drew Brees was light years ahead of some of those guys that San Diego was producing. Like Phillip Rivers, okay? Drew Brees was light years ahead of Phillip Rivers. Imagine if Drew Brees, instead of Phillip Rivers, played with San Diego. Imagine that 06, 07, 08 team with LT and those guys and Darren Sproles. I mean, dude, I really think they could have won the Super Bowl. They definitely could have beat the Patriots that year, where the Patriots ended up, Tom Brady threw a pick, but, the Patriots receiver ended up stripping the defensive player to get the ball back. And that's really what changed the game of the dynamic. And if San Diego doesn't make that mistake, San Diego could have won that Super Bowl that year, and we're not looking at the New England Patriots dynasty like we're used to looking at, right? Just a couple scenarios here, but Drew Brees, the best record by far is the most passing yards in NFL history, over 80,000. It's amazing to me. I would have loved to see Drew Brees come back for this last year, just the way he went out, losing to Tom Brady. They beat Tom Brady twice in the regular season and lost in the playoffs. I just thought, a couple things could have played out differently. Like I said, the past couple years, losing to Minnesota in the playoffs was heartbreaking. And that wasn't even Drew Brees' fault. Drew Brees had a great game that game. Minnesota had one of the best defenses that year. So to me, it was just like, man, it was just a heartbreaking. I was like, man, that might be the last opportunities for Drew Brees to get that Super Bowl championship ring. Really though, I mean, just a couple scenarios here and there, but overall, looking at Drew Brees, entire career, I rate it as an A. I rate it as an A, and here's why. You know, a lot of people would say B plus or even B minus because, you know, he only has one Super Bowl. And I get that. You know, that's the only flaw for Drew Brees' career is only one Super Bowl. I really think, yes, he could have easily won a couple extra Super Bowls. You know, like I said, the 2018 team, I really thought they could have won. You know, really. Yeah, I really believe that. You know, there's a couple scenarios, but overall, looking at Drew Brees, dude, it's an A to me. It's an A because what he committed to the game. You know, all the records he broke, dude. Most career completions in NFL history. I don't think that's going to be broke by Tom Brady unless Tom Brady really has two seasons left under his belt. And to me, is Tom Brady ever going to slow down? That's the question. You know, is Tom Brady ever going to slow down? If he doesn't, yes, Tom Brady will pass most career passing yards, will pass Drew Brees eventually. I do believe that, which kind of sucks in a way, but I think Drew Brees is going to hold the completion percentage. Who knows, you know? But I think, you know, with Tom Brady right behind him, you know, about over 1,000 yards, I think Tom Brady's going to pass him this year, maybe even next year. You know, I ultimately believe that. I think he will. You know, he'll pass him in the playoffs this coming up year, the season. But overall, looking at it, dude, I love it, dude. You know, Drew Brees, people hating on Drew Brees for no reason. I don't understand it. Why are you going to show hate to Drew Brees? You know, I feel like Drew Brees, I've never met the man, but I feel like he's got a good heart. He gives back to charity. He gives back to the people in need, gives back to the city of New Orleans. So to me, to bash Drew Brees and a lot of people on social media bashing him, saying this and that, it's like, really? Do you know Drew Brees? You know what I'm saying? I feel like he's a class act, man, and he wants the best out of every teammate he's ever had, man. And that's a valuable trait, and that thing will never be forgotten. And I believe that the New Orleans Saints, they will retire number 9. They will retire and say, you know, Drew Brees, you did everything you could for us in our city. We love you, and I feel like the city of New Orleans will always love Drew Brees. They always will. That love will never go away. They're going to retire his number, and Drew Brees in the next 5 years will be in the NFL Hall of Fame. You mark my words. He should be, and he will be. You know, it would be a robbery if they did not put Drew Brees in the Hall of Fame, NFL Hall of Fame. He deserves it. He deserves that praise. He deserves the credit for that and what he did to the game. You know, homage to Drew Brees in hope, baby. Let's go!